Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter by reviewing the Trove minimalist wallet. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's a card holder, right? Not a wallet? Well, not so fast. The Trove is pretty slim as far as slim wallets go, and it even took me, someone who's pretty minimalist in the gear that I carry, it took me some time to get used to this. But now that I've used this Trove for a little while, the thought of going back to a traditional folding wallet just feels like it would be putting a bunch of bricks in my pocket. It just feels huge, and I've gotten quite used to this despite its shortcomings. So here's a look inside this Trove wallet and why it might convince you too. Trove is a company based in the UK that make minimalist ways to carry your money in 4 different collections. There's the Coin Caddy, Cash Wrap, the Trove Swift, and Trove Wallet. This here is a Trove wallet that's been custom configured to include this Swift tab, so it's more like a custom configured Trove Swift wallet. But the difference between those two versions is really just this Swift tab. The Trove wallet is essentially 2 pieces of fabric woven in a way that let you arrange it in multiple configurations. This blue band here is elastic and comes in over 10 different color options, and that elastic is used to keep your cards secure. The main material on the outside, this red part, comes in leather, reflex, or carbon fiber options. The latter 2 are vegan if you want to build a wallet that uses no animal products. You can configure the color of all of these components and get any number of combinations between the elastic, main material, stitching, and interior lining. Trove also has a few color combinations to choose from if you don't want to customize everything yourself. The elastic is stitched tightly and the reflex material is soft with a matte finish. One thing I like about these Trove wallets is the use of this elastic and just soft materials in general. So a lot of slim wallets I've reviewed in the past are either made of hard plastic or metal, which means that when you put them in your pocket with your phone, they can scratch the screen, they get scuffed up easier, and they're just less rigid and a little bit less comfortable to put in your pocket and to wear on a daily basis. The elastic material here, though, gives. It lets you kind of put in as many cards as you want. You can fit up to 10, but if you've only got 1 card, like I do here right now, it keeps the wallet smaller. Whereas if you have a rigid wallet, if you've got 1 card or 10 cards, it's going to be pretty much the same size. And another nice thing about the use of soft material here is that it's very reminiscent of a fold wallet. So if you're coming from a fold wallet, the material will be familiar, and pretty much what you can carry will be familiar, but how you carry it does differ. The Trove wallet has 3 compartments in its standard configuration. The first here is for your cards, and you can add up to 10. In my configuration, I opted for the additional Swift tab, which adds this little insert with a hard plastic tab you can use to pull and lift up all your cards, making them easier to access. The Swift tab, which I mentioned earlier is standard in the Swift line, is an extra addition if you're configuring your own wallet. And for the most part, it works pretty well. But when the wallet is full, so when you've got 10 cards in there, for example, and you're maxing it out, the tab doesn't stick up above the rest of the wallet like it does when you've only got 1 or 2 or 3 cards. So one trick to doing this is to put just 3 or 4 cards in front of the Swift tab and then putting the rest of the cards you don't use in the same compartment behind the Swift tab. That way when you lift up the Swift tab and you put it down, it's still kind of sticking up above the rest of the cards, and when you do that, that makes it easier to get out the cards you use on a more frequent basis. Now, I've never had it when the wallet is full and I've used the Swift tab. I've never had all the cards just fall out, although it does feel like they will. They don't, because the tab doesn't lift up high enough for that to happen, but it's going to take you some time to get used to it, as I did. Eventually you do, and you just know that when you've got a bunch of cards in here, you got to kind of filter out and find your specific card. They don't stack up so that you can see the card that you might need for, your ATM card or your credit card or your license. They don't stack up. They just all kind of come up like that. So it's a little bit inconvenient, especially when you're using a lot of cards. Around the back here is another compartment you can use to put less used cards or cash. Then on the bottom, those 2 folds come together to create a third pocket you can also use for cash or receipts or other miscellaneous items. Just keep in mind to use this third underneath pocket, you need to have a few cards in the top part of the Trove, otherwise there won't be enough tension on both sides to keep whatever it is you're keeping in that third underneath pocket in place. And like most other slim wallets, there's no place for coins, although I suppose you could use this underneath pocket as well if you wanted to. Overall, I really like the Trove wallet, except for a few things that maybe I'm looking at with too detailed of an eye. Small things like this elastic inconsistency here, or the slight white fraying around the reflex material, or a small thread here I ended up cutting on the front. These are all very minor things, but the kind I like to keep an eye on for durability. I'll update with the road tested in the future. Make sure you're subscribed not to miss that. But after a few weeks of use, my impressions are pretty good. It feels less like a precious art piece and something that you're just going to use on a daily basis. One thing that I don't like about the Trove is that when it's filled with 10 cards, the front card here tends to bend a little bit. It tends to have this kind of arch in the wallet. Even when I change the order of the cards, that front card is always bent, whichever type of card it happens to be, whether it's a credit card or driver's license. So that's something I'll keep an eye out on for the future. And maybe it'll get better as this elastic sort of gives and wears a little bit over time. Maybe that bend won't be as pronounced if the elastic doesn't hold onto the cards quite as tight. So who is this Trove Slim Wallet for? Well, I think if you've been on the fence about Slim Wallets, so you're using a traditional wallet and you're thinking about switching to something like this, then the Trove wallet brings a lot of the folding world things that you like, soft material, a lot of compartments to hold a bunch of different stuff. And it brings a lot of the things you like about Slim wallets and leaves some things that you might not like about Slim wallets, like the fact that they are often made of rigid designs. They're made of hard metal, they don't give, and they're not quite as small as this Trove can be configured to be. I like the flexibility of this design. I like that it can have different looks, from the more casual or the more formal. If you want to go for carbon fiber, you want something that's more professional looking. I like that there are a lot of different options that you get with this Trove wallet. And I like that it's not quite as conspicuous in your pocket as some other wallets might be. So if you've got this in your front pocket, it's not going to stick out as much, and it's not going to be quite as noticeable. So it's a little bit of a security feature. You know, this doesn't quite look really like a wallet, even if it's just kind of laying out. So if you're traveling and maybe you don't want to have a bulky wallet, or maybe you want to keep a couple of cards with you and you want to keep that in your bag as opposed to your pockets for safety reasons, then this Trove wallet can really be useful in those situations. The Trove wallet is not only physically small, but it's also physically diverse as well. You can reverse this design, so you can have two outer pockets to use for cash and one inner pocket to use for cards if you want, for example, although your Swift tab won't quite work if you do that, but you can always get a Trove wallet without a Swift tab and then no problem there. But if you're already using a wallet just to hold a couple of cards and you rarely use cash, and the thickest part of the whole wallet is the actual wallet part, then making a transition to one of these might be a little bit easier for you. And it does take about a week to get used to using a slim minimalist wallet. It does take some time to get used to it. There are going to be things you don't like about it. But I think for a lot of you, especially a lot of you who travel frequently or just simply want lighter things to carry, you don't want so many things to carry, then I think that trade-off in this Trove wallet might be something that you should consider. That's my review of the Trove wallet. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and I'll also leave a link to the other reviews I've done of Slim wallets in the description box, which is right under the like and the subscribe buttons, which you should click as well. I would really appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Folding wallet, and you wanted to try. Now I know what you meant. Let's go, and the Trove is pretty